Chapter 72 to 74. You could have gotten a girlfriend. Why did you get a sister? Amon's wry smile soon evolved into a deadpan look. Bruh. He was tired, but he didn't mind giving some time to her. Not that it would take hours to calm her down. Only 1 second is what he would need. However, internally smacking his face, Amon looked at Raki. She was pretty strange for a child, and this type of behavior made her seem even stranger to other people around her. Though Amon was quite delighted at her reaction today. In canon, she was supposed to grow into a loving big sister from being a quiet and meek girl. While Isa was supposed to be a generic tomboy, yet things changed drastically. The butterfly flapped its wings and their personality got swapped. Here, Isa was the meek girl, who might or might not change. While Raki was a tomboy to her core, there are no ways for her to change back. There was an actual reason behind her change as well. Looking at her, Amon raised his hands towards her face. While she closed her eyes, scaredly Amon caressed her hair. He recalled that time when she cried from Amon asking Isa for a tomboy sister. After that time, she started to change herself to fit what I wanted. I suddenly feel weird. Amon wasn't sure how Raki would react if she could hear this thought. Will she be happy? Or will she have an existential crisis? Her reaction today threw some people off, and even Isa was weirded out. What level of brother complex was this? Though Amon just nodded internally. If I think a little, it's a bad thing. As long as she's beside me, I don't mind if she becomes a Yandra. She's already halfway there. She even did that sacrifice haircut thingy. Currently, Raki had short hair and a bob cut. She cut it herself since having long hair was quite stressful in a fight. It didn't seem she was completely different from her original counterpart. Her eyes were shaking a little, while everyone was looking at the scene strangely. Amon was on his back. Raki was at the top pulling him by the collars. Amon was hardly suppressing his laughter. He was, nonetheless, happy at the development. It was a bad thing at all, to begin with. It's not that hard to subdue her and make her accept reality. Amon was quite worried, and even looking forward to how she would react after seeing him offer King Cobra the thing he's mainly here for. Ignoring the thoughts, Amon smiled at her. While Raki was flinching from his hand caressing her hair, Amon slipped his hand down and placed them against her back. Before she could react, Amon pulled her down towards him and made her face fall on his chest. Raki tried to jump up in surprise, while people around turned around to do their job. This was too awkward for them. Wiper yawned from the side and went to pick a cold drink. Isa covered Isa's eyes while walking away with a giggle. Robin also giggled and went to get a gift she prepared for Raki beforehand. She has heard quite a lot about Amon's people. This made her take Amon as an open guy who would share everything with his sister. Fufu, how sweet, and here I was getting nervous. Robin sighed in relief. She was quite worried if this little sister, the person who indirectly made Amon and herself end up together, would be happy with her or not. But it seems she's just a hormonal little girl. Nothing she can't handle. Robin also spotted an inconvenience, an uninvited guest around the place. She had her eyes all around the building. She uses her powers very interestingly after Amon's advice. For this, she was delighted to be able to help him with his lightning powers as a payment. Raki didn't move for minutes before she opened her lips and a hardly audible voice came out. Amon couldn't hear, or at least he didn't react even after she said so. Let go of me. This time, she said a bit more loudly, but Amon only gripped her back strongly. No, he said. I'm apologizing. I'm sorry for getting a new one, but you are still the first, sis. Forgive me, sis. While Raki's body shook and goosebumps covered her body, Amon started to laugh, holding his stomach in his mind. The Skypieans rested in the building that day. They were given the luxurious bedrooms all around, while Amon passed his night at the roof. He was humming until he fell asleep. He was quite enjoying the atmosphere. Even though it was cold for others, he felt quite comfortable. It's as if the temperature was perfect for him. Thinking what can go wrong, Amon slowly lost himself to sleep while humming the mask-off tune. Yes, what can go wrong? Robin POV. Inside a hotel in Nanohana, a little blonde girl was eating her food. She was still trying to gather information even now, pretty skilled if I say so myself. The hotel is 24/7, so it's still open. I'm sitting on a corner of the hotel, while she was in another corner. She's Miss Valentine of the Baroque Works. I learned this from the spies we have in Crocodile's organization. She's a 15-years-old little girl, yet she's a skilled assassin. She has a devil fruit that lets her fly. I don't have any knowledge besides this since she's quite new to the organization. It seems she's been flying above our building until everyone went to rest. I spotted her and let Lucy know, though he knew about it already as expected. He just asked me to torture her. Torture, huh? I've seen that a lot since I worked with many slave merchants before. How interesting that I'm going to perform something that, but oh well, I've already fallen a long time ago. First thing first, I need to capture her. It's not hard, after all. She came to the wolf's den this time. There is no way for her to escape. Everyone inside this hotel is our people. They all have their eyes on her. Poor girl. I would have snapped her neck right here if he had not ordered me not to. Glancing at a waiter and nodding towards him, I go back to my eating. He knows what he needs to do. That's how everyone under us is. Soon after, the waiter served a special juice to the girl which she slipped curiously after some sweet words from him. It didn't take seconds, as soon after she slopped on the table. Mission successful. Or at least halfway successful. Anyway, let's take her to the basement. I will keep asking her questions until Lucy comes as he said. Miss Valentine POV. Bah! Where's this? Splash. Before I could think more, another bucket of water was splashed all over my face. Who is it? Oh shit. Looks like I got captured. It is that woman Mr. Zero warned me about. Fuck, why is the organization so small? I was sent by myself. If I had a partner, this situation wouldn't have happened. What do? Bam. Ah, the woman in front of me, Miss All Sunday, kicked me right in the face. Why is her name like this? It's as if she's also a member of our organization. Shit, a fucking copycat. Gritting my teeth in pain, I glare at her. She won't kill me for information purposes, and if I'm unlucky and she decides to finish me, I just have to reveal my identity. She definitely won't harm someone from their allies' team. Or so I wished. Who would have thought she would torture me even though I revealed everything I knew? General POV. Mommy. Isa was up from her sleep and was clutching Isa's clothes. After barely getting up from her sleep, Isa looked at Isa for a while. Soon she released a sigh. What's now, baby? Did you have a nightmare? Isa stayed silent, but Isa just hugged her tightly. Don't worry, I'm here. Your brother is here as well. No nightmare will be able to hurt you. Isa kissed her, while Isa stayed silent and closed her eyes. She could pretty much feel the things happening in the basement of this building. Her sleep ended the moment she heard that angry and annoying voice. Though she wasn't sure of the presence, she could feel the one pained emotion and one cold emotion of two people. The pained emotion was bearable, but the cold emotion wasn't. She has never felt something like this before. This wasn't a nightmare, but was something scarier. Yet, she was sure her brother would keep her safe. Unbeknownst to her, Amon was not really someone who was in a state to save someone else from a nightmare. It was morning and the sun was just rising. The sandy background made the sun seemingly shine brighter. On the rooftop of the 10-floor building of Nanohana, a black-haired teenager, Amon was sitting. His eyes were hollow, there were dry marks of tears around his eyes. He's been sitting like this for 5 hours now, looking at the moon, and now the sun. This world is strange, nice and fucked up. Yet he's been here for 14 years ago. Not that all of his days were all happy, but that didn't change anything. He was still who he was in the past, just a little more experience at things. Even though he changed a lot in these years, that was just him getting character development. Yawn. Amon stood up and yawned casually with a droplet of a tear falling from his cheeks. This was nothing new, but it's been a few years since he has had a nightmare, so he was feeling a little strange. Well, not that he can't handle some memories from the past. Rubbing his eyes, Amon faced the sun as the sunlight penetrated the cloud and fell on his face. I guess I should pay a visit to the spy, she's still getting tortured. Not that they are anything deep, just some small electrical shock here and there. Nothing she is unfamiliar with most likely. Amon was aware of Miss Valentine as a 22 years old, but that can't be said the same for her 15 years old version. He has a little knowledge of her past, which he plans to use soon enough. Who would have thought Crocodile was actually smart? Doing some push-ups, Amon continued talking with himself. Killing her would be useless. She's young, just 15 years old. So maybe seduce her. Amon thought for a while before shaking his head. Nah, too much time will be wasted. I should just shock her brain and make her brain dead. Or maybe no, fuck, I need to clear my mind then make a decision. Such a weak mindset I have. Still not sure of what to do with her, Amon just decided to go and take a shower. He will only move on with her after meeting with Cobra. It's already been pretty late. Maybe his shower thoughts will help him with other things as well. Phew. Even though it was said to be a nightmare, Amon felt like he was home in his dream, or maybe it was his paradise. Suddenly laughing loudly, Amon cleared his stress and walked through the door of the roof. He ignored Robin's concerned gaze, who was just on the other side of the door. She came to wake him up. Didn't expect to see him like that. After Amon took a bath, the others prepared themselves. After eating breakfast, they decided to move out. When everyone was preparing to leave, Robin and Amon were in a room, alone. Robin was sitting on a bench, facing the window. Robin, gimme a kiss. Amon was laying on Robin's lap and had his arms raised upwards towards Robin's face. She knocked his forehead lightly as Amon slopped his hands down. Ah, that hurt. Robin was reading some documents and was biting a pen. Things are getting a little messy. I need to check some things. Hey, don't ignore me, acting childish. Amon again raised his hands, only for the same thing to happen. Robin replied with a calm yet irritated tone. Don't act childish. Huh. What type of sister won't kiss her brother? You are so rude. Amon covered his face and stayed silent. Sighing, Robin put the documents down with a sigh. What happened to you? You are acting too childish today. Peeking at her face underneath his hand, Amon stayed silent. He then moved his hands and got up with a yawn. Forget it, I'ma head out. Ah. Robin pulled him down on her lap and leaned her face towards him from the top. Do you want to hide some things from your sister? You want to be punished? Amon smiled strangely and raised his hands again and started to pull her face closer by holding the back of her head. You want to play hard, sis? Amon pulled her face terribly close, while Robin didn't have time to even understand anything. Her eyes were wide and her face was too close. I shouldn't. Creak, HUI. Before things could have gotten interesting, Raki arrived by opening the door abruptly. Bro, time to leave. HHH. Look at this wrench. Raki jumped up seeing the scene and almost rushed towards Robin with her sword. Obviously, Amon sensed her coming. That was why he acted like this in the first place. He didn't have any plan to go into that type of relationship with Robin unless she took the initiative. This was just him trying to cheer up his mood from the dream last night. BBROAS. Before she could continue, Amon flashed to her back and chopped her neck lightly with his hands covered in electricity, thus knocking her out. Robin quickly pulled herself together and shook her head. In the meantime, Amon took Raki and placed her in a comfy chair. Robin frowned lightly. Don't try that. Ever. Do you treat me like every other girl you met? Amon just winked at her with his tongue out. Don't worry, it was a joke. I would have stopped at the last moment anyway. Robin's frown lessened. But could I have stopped? And oh. Robin, don't even think about it. Your relationship will be destroyed. Robin couldn't even imagine how things will escalate when they cross that invisible line. Will he treat her like the other girls? Leaving after one night? She didn't know, she was scared to know. Sighing, she was about to get up from her seat as Amon's voice entered her ears. By the way, did you send the information to him? Amon asked while he was changing his clothes. He was wearing a suit completely clad in black. He was trying to look professional for his talk with King Cobra. Though it will take 3 days for them to reach, he decided to wear them beforehand to not feel too uncomfortable later on. Robin nodded lightly. Yes, from what I know, he is in Alabasta already. But I don't understand something. Robin had a slight frown on her face. Though it's a good idea to send a vice admiral like him after Crocodile, it will be bad for us if he finds out about the alliance between us and Crocodile. While she was talking, Amon was trying to tie his tie, though he was having quite a trouble. This was, after all, his second time wearing a suit and tie in this world. Robin walked over and started to help him. Anyway, ahem. Amon released a fake cough and looked away, embarrassed. Don't worry about him, by the way. I only chose him since he's greedy for a rank up. Not that he will get it, though. I see. Robin nodded. I have plans. It will work just fine. Looking up, Amon smirked, as Robin felt weird from that evil face he was making. It was one of the evilest smiles she saw in her life, yet she felt happy seeing him smile. She couldn't believe where she was standing now to even think of such things. Not that it matters, I don't care anyway. After that, Amon and the group started to move through the desert again. The unconscious Raki was riding the same camel as Robin since Robin could hold her with extra hands, and Amon was with Isa and Isa. Amon was wearing a native outfit on top of his suit and regretted his decision instantly. Not that he felt hot, it was simply too uncomfortable. He currently had his mask back on, and his hair was white as well. It was very tiring for 31 of the 33 people to go through the desert. They stopped at some towns on the way, and Amon sometimes disappeared saying he had some work, though only Amon knew what type of work he had. After many hardships, finally, 3 days later, they reached the city of Aliabarna, the capital of Alabasta. Buy fresh bread. Get some date palm. Chicks. Young and tasty chicks. Beef meat. We have beef meat. After letting the royal guards at the city gate know of their arrival, Amon's group was walking through the middle of a busy road filled with side shops. It was quite a sight, and a few of the Skypieans gulped seeing the food all around. Raki, who was struggling in Robin's grasp, stopped her attempts while her eyes were set on some cooked beef. Foo, you want some? I have money. I can buy them if you want. Robin said from her back, as she looked away. Why, you don't need to act like a good girl. I will just ask my brother later. While Robin teased her some more, and the citizens of Aliabarna were giving them looks filled with curiosity, Amon enhanced his observation. Feeling the electrical fields in the air, Amon closed his eyes. Then, using thunder eyes, he started to spy inside the royal palace of Alabasta. It seems Cobra didn't have much time to prepare his meeting for them. He was simply too worried about his daughter's whereabouts. Just 2 nights ago, some people kidnapped her from inside the palace. It was an impossible thing to happen, for someone to be daring enough to kidnap the princess, even so from inside the palace. This meant there was a spy in the palace, or else, the culprit is a very powerful person, maybe a high-ranking assassin. Her kidnapping has already occurred once in the past, so this made him worry even more. He wasn't sure if he would be able to live if something happened to Vivi. He called some Marines yesterday, but they will take a lot of time. He even informed Crocodile, but he simply didn't even pick the Den Mushy call. As if the call didn't even reach him. Finally, he contacted the Valkyries branch here, and some of them were searching for the culprit even now. But who he was looking for was their leader, the warlord of the sea, Lucifer. Today he was worried and busy. He was more concerned to use his time to meet people from a kingdom he isn't interested in. Amon opened his eyes as a smirk formed on his face. Yes, it was him who moved the strings. Having such high speed was a cheat. Amon in his journey here was frequenting random thugs around. Money and power. He used these two against a big group of criminals. Under double disguise, he used the money to offer them a deal of holding the princess hostage for him. While they rejected, he used power to threaten them. They were forced to do as he asked them off. He also cut the Den Mushy line with Croc. It was easy to hypnotize the snail to not reach Crocodile's snail. For the other snails, he had ways. It was also him who kidnapped the 8-year-old Vivi after knocking her unconscious. He did it smoothly and then presented her to the bandits. He just needs to act like a hero. Like the hero he was. Rio POV. Hey, Rio, you feeling fine? I was suddenly brought out of my thoughts by a call as I looked at my side. It was my big brother, the fourth son of Father Rello. I'm fine. I'm just bored. Besides, we are waiting for the king for 4 hours now, yet he isn't here. It feels like he is disrespecting us. You feel like that too? He said with a frown. I never knew Blue Sea people were like this. And he's supposed to be a king. Sigh. Currently, we are in a guest room of the royal palace of this country. We were waiting here for hours now, yet the king hasn't even called us once, let alone come to meet us by himself. Sigh, how humans in this part of the world are. I'm not sure why we are here, besides the fact we will form an alliance with them. Well, if Lord God said that, it will happen for sure. But I'm not confident if this would be a good idea to form an alliance with a country with a king like this. Creak. Oh, before I could think of anything more, the door opened and 3 people entered the room. A man with a small red nose and a powdered wig at the right. A tall man with a purple line under each eye that runs down the sides of his face, making him resemble a falcon at the left. And finally, a person with a wrinkled face, a tied-off beard, and long, curly black hair. He is wearing a green robe with yellow edging, an orange and beige sash around his waist, and a purple coat. It didn't need me to be smart to understand. He was a king. The king of Alabasta, Nefertiti Cobra. He looks nicer. Pardon, his hurried tone cut my thoughts. General POV. I heard Miss All Sunday came. He said looking around, as his face became bright seeing Robin sitting with Raki who was eating some beef. He wanted to run forward and jump on her knees, but from a nudge of his subordinate, he regained his composure and glanced at the other people. At first, he just wanted to ask them to leave, but after hearing that Miss All Sunday herself came accompanying them, he changed his mind. Sighing, he shook his head. They had weird wings, but he was too caught in the time to care about that. The royal palace faced some problems. We hope you people would wait for a few days. We will treat you like a respectable guest in the meantime, please. Yo, old man. Interrupting him, Amon's voice sounded through the room. He slowly took off his mask and smiled at the king as his eyes arched up. It took 2 seconds for him to recognize Amon. After all, he's someone who he was trying to reach for 3 days 24/7. You want to drive me out after I came here doing such a long journey? Meh, talk about bad treatment. El Lucifer. Cobra's face became strangely happy. El Lucifer. Amon raised an eyebrow hearing Cobra's excited voice. What? Your face looks strange. The next second, from the middle of the 2 people beside him, Cobra jumped forward at Amon and grabbed his hands. I've been trying to reach your dial. I need your help. He didn't use the word kingdom this time. While Amon tried to move his face backward from Cobra's face, he kept his nervous smile. He didn't reveal the abduction of the princess to the citizens, since they would worry for no reason. He was preparing his heart to do so soon enough since they might help in the searching. But now that one of the warlords of the sea was here, things aren't looking so bad. After all, Amon to upper-level people is known to have keen observation hockey, while people like Cobra knew it as a type of sixth sense. He couldn't reach Sir Crocodile's den mushy, but after trying hard he was able to reach one of Crocodile's subordinates. Her voice sounded young, and she said Crocodile was too busy to help. Normally, Cobra would have begged Crocodile to help, however, he didn't do so since there was a better candidate for this job than him. For a day now, he's trying to reach Amon, but his dial only rang and rang, he never picked up the call. Now seeing him in front, he felt angry at why he didn't pick the call, but he was too caught up in the situation and worried for his daughter to blame Amon right now. Deciding to beg him if needed, Cobra opened his mouth. Please save my daughter. In the basement of the branch building of Wingless Valkyries, a certain blonde girl was shackled with sea stones. She was biting her lips while looking down. Bam! Bam! Knocking hard on the metallic door, the person guarding the door, a member of the organization, slid a plate of food towards her from under the door. Eat it. Don't expect more than a piece of bread, unlucky bitch. The guard said and left. Oh, for fuck's sake. The prisoner, Miss Valentine, cursed under her breath. I'm locked. How the hell am I supposed to eat then? Struggling to free herself for the umpteenth time, she gave up with a sigh. Fuck. Fuck that woman. Fuck that guy too. She recalled the arrival of Amon 2 days ago. He shocked her and threatened her to say some specific words and recorded them in a strange seashell. She didn't know what he would use the recording to do, but she didn't care. She only wanted to free herself from here. She was the daughter of a small noble in a small kingdom that failed to pay the heavenly tribute and was destroyed thus. Her family was able to escape, and she was doing bounty hunting to keep her family safe and alive. Not so long ago, Crocodile offered her a good position in the Baroque works, which she accepted unhesitantly. Yet, now she is almost dying for that. Mommy, I miss you, sniff. The 15-year-old sniffed while suppressing her tears. She decided she will survive at all costs. Even if it was to betray Crocodile. Life comes first, fuck Crocodile. I've been working under him for less than a month anyway, she thought, looking down at the piece of bread in front of her. Besides, by now he probably thinks I'm dead, or betrayed him since there was no contact from my side for 3 days. Fuck. Gritting her teeth, she stopped crying and looked towards the bread. Fuck you, Lucifer. She aggressively bent forward and took a bite from the bread. Meanwhile, in the palace of Alabasta, Amon was done listening and was standing, doing some stretching. Okay, man. Calm down. It's not that strange that they didn't call for cash even though 2 nights have passed. I mean, they must be busy hiding or something. Amon said and smiled at Cobra. Tea then? What do we do? Wait for them to call. Amon just waved his hands at his words. Nah, that's just a waste of time. He said, if you still need to sit down and wait even after reaching me, then it's my failure, my responsibility. Don't worry your daughter, you'll see her in 59 minutes. Enlarging his wings, Amon walked towards the window. Be at ease, I'm good at finding things. You can rest assured, or I will compensate you. Not looking back, Amon jumped from the window and vanished with a bolt of lighting. Both the Skypieans and the Alabastians were speechless. Skypieans were shocked since they weren't sure why the king suddenly changed after recognizing Amon. They weren't sure, but they decided to pay more attention to not saying his name out loud like he ordered than not to. While the Alabastians were surprised for another reason. Are wings supposed to make lightning bolts when flying? The guard, the Falcon's own user, said from the side, envious. He has tried to look for Vivi from the sky already. For that reason, wasn't sure of his 59 minutes guarantee. Zizi. Amon went to the sky and took a bath in his shrine, evading everyone's senses. He then went around the forest to eat some mango and spent some time with the snake Nola. After around half an hour had passed, Amon went back to Alabasta, going to the place where Vivi was. He was the one to suggest the bandits to hide here, so it was clear that he knew everything. The bandits didn't know their job provider's identity, so they were surprised when the warlord arrived. It took a few minutes to take them down since Amon wanted the tied Vivi to see his heroic figure beating them all. The injured Vivi had tears falling down her cheeks as she started to cry loudly. She saw Amon once before, though it was just a glance when he came to meet Cobra one time. She wouldn't have remembered him unless he had those wings she was always interested in touching, and also since he left a gift for her. A dial with a smartphone screen. It had one application on it, a game named Talking Tom. She enjoyed it, unbeknownst of Amon's real purpose behind it. At this rate, he might become big news, Morgan 2.0. Waya! Vivi cried while hugging Amon as he stroked her hair. He has called Cobra and the royal guards on their way. Cobra requested Amon to bring back Vivi right now. He didn't need to wait for the guards. Amon looked down at Vivi and crouched down with a smile. Placing his hands on her shoulder, Amon looked at her wet eyes. She calmed down a little after seeing Amon smile reassuringly. Is it okay to call you Vivi-chan? Vivi nodded lightly. Great. Do you know who I am? Anon said with a bright smile. No, not much. But I know father is acquainted with you. Vivi replied while wiping her tears. That's enough. Then we will leave. I heard you like to fly. Amon said as Vivi's eyes grew. She asked Pell to take her in the sky on his back many times. He didn't listen, saying it was dangerous and whatever more. She only saw the kingdom from the sky one time before. I love to fly. But father said it's dangerous. Amon laughed lightly and stroked her head. Don't worry, I'm a professional. Amon didn't wait for her to reply and picked her up, his wings fused with his body, and he placed her on his shoulders. Yeah, Mr. Your wings vanished. Amon grinned looking upwards. Go, I don't need wings to fly. Zizi. At a speed less than sound, Amon started to fly with Vivi on his shoulder, while she had stars in her eyes. Though soon after, she started to scream loudly in fright. Not that Amon stopped. Amon POV. I soon returned to the palace with Vivi on my shoulder. She was scared and was shaking the whole flight of 3 minutes, but I could sense she was very exhilarated. It took 53 minutes for me to do all these things and return to the palace finally. Oh, my baby. Were you scared? No. I was fine. Cobra reacted as expected. He cares for his daughter too much, that's good. For me, obviously. Anyway, since I move things smoothly, it won't be a problem for me to get some time from the king. Well, it's easy to do that anyway just by having the title of warlord. I can feel Robin's gaze and frown towards me. Damn, she's smart. She figured it out, huh? Or maybe it's just her hunch, Never mind. She's just jealous. Or maybe both, who knows? It's strange how emotions change people. Anyway, I should quicken things up. Saving Vivi and doing all the heroic acts wasn't really just for the king's gratefulness towards me. There is a better reason behind it. A bigger reason. While I decided to go out with Isa and Isa and taste some desert food, Cobra and Vivi finally calmed down slowly. The food was good. Isa liked it. She took some recipes as well. Nice, good for me. Oh, also she might become pregnant soon since fucking Bob was too horny these days. Fuck, sometimes it's a curse to have the Goro Goro no Mi sensing powers. I can't turn it off like observation hockey either. Fuck you, Bob. General POV. While things escalated fast, Amon, Isa and Isa returned to the palace with a guard accompanying them. Amon asked a guard to let Cobra know of this, though it seems Cobra was busy first dating Vivi. Amon smirked internally. This was where he would promote his product. Deciding such, he walked through the palace freely while leaving Isa and Isa with the Skypieans in a different room. While some guards tried to stop him, Amon just teleported, making them confused and wary. Ignoring them while also memorizing the structure of the palace, Amon went to the medic room, where Cobra and Vivi were. Yo! Amon didn't knock on the door and entered while munching on some fries. In the room, Vivi was in a bed with Cobra sitting on a stool on the side, while 4 doctors were applying medicine on her wounds. Vivi, on the other hand, was releasing pained moans. Cobra frowned when he saw someone entering, but when he realized it was Lucifer himself, he sighed. He just saved his daughter, so he couldn't really ask him out. It just felt strange to him. "Lucifer, is there anything?" "Don't worry, I will shortly meet your people anyway," Cobra said and got up from his seat. Amon just waved his hands. "Nah, don't worry too much. I'm here to promote my products," Amon said and walked over to Vivi, ignoring everyone. "Hey boy, the princess is injured. Stay away," one of the doctors yelled, though Amon just showed him the middle finger. "Shut the hell up, look what face she is making. Your medicine is shit, she looks like hot boiling water is being poured onto her wounds." While the doctors flinched, Amon sat down on the bed as Vivi looked at him with one of her eyes closed. She was gritting her teeth to prevent herself from crying. It was true what he said, but not like there was anything else she could do anyway. It was her fault to have been kidnapped by someone in the first place. She can't cry like a little girl for that. She stopped crying for quite a while already. Looking at her, Amon licked his lips. "Now, Vivi-chan, it won't hurt at all. So close your eyes." While Vivi flinched seeing his face, Amon slipped his hands in his pocket, taking out a spray dial. "Yeah, what's that?" This video is sponsored by Shondorian Spray. FSSSSS. While everyone looked at the scene dumbfounded, Amon pressed the dial as pink spray came out. When it hit her wounds, they were covered in white foam instantly. "Ah, what did you do to my Vivi?" Cobra screamed with his hands, pulling his hair. Amon ignored him and sprayed the dial all around her body. Her bloody body was soon covered in thick, white, sticky foam. While Cobra jumped forward while screaming Vivi's name, she slowly opened her eyes. A sign of confusion present in her eyes. "It doesn't hurt? It feels nice on my wounds." Amon just laughed and took a tissue from the table. He soon wiped the thick shite stuff from her body as Cobra's eyes were rendered wide. "Let me present you, Shandia Medicine Special Spray Dial, Miracle Healing Foam." Cobra had an agape expression while the doctors started to inspect the tissues.